I'm gonna turn this into this. I wanted to make a roguelike out of the Battle of Troy based on Vampire Survivors. Greek mythology is pretty cool. I think that a game with an art style and gameplay based on that would be pretty cool too. I'm basing this on the Trojan War. It's covered in, a popular old book, you might have heard before, called the Iliad. The Greeks and the Trojans are beefing because this guy named Paris, which is kind of a interesting name, was being a hoe. Anyway, the Greeks sneak the Trojan horse into Troy and then pop out for a surprise attack, led by my man, Odysseus. This other book you might have heard of, it's a little known one called The Odyssey. So I dropped into Unity and started to get to work. I wanted the art style to be similar to Greek pottery art because it looks pretty cool. There is a problem though, I'm not an artist. Making a 2D sprite based on this would be really hard for me, to say the least. I'm good at coding, something at game dev. I can even fail at 3D modeling, but I have no experience with 2D sprites. So I decided to instead take this piece of art itself and put it into the game. Plus, this art piece is a few thousand years old, so I don't really have to worry about copyright. I went into Photoshop and cleaned the picture up and then threw it into Unity. I also did the same for this other piece of art. Now, I don't know if this is supposed to be Odysseus, but maybe I'll use him for an enemy or something. Cool, I've got him in the game. But he doesn't have any animations, it's just a still image. And if I wanted to do sprite animation, I would still need to have art skills better than a tuba. I decided to take a different tactic. You can use a bone system to make 2D artwork work a lot more like 3D models. You can see the difference when you look at a game like Cuphead versus a game like Dead Cells. For Cuphead, the developers hand drew each frame of animation. The game looks beautiful. It also took like 10 years, and about 100 times the artistic talent that I have. On the flip side, you have Dead Cells, which has 2D characters with bones. The animation just moves the pieces around rather than having distinct frames. It can save you a lot of time and money over doing pixel art. I am going the Dead Cells route. I spent a good amount of time rigging up this nice art piece of Odysseus so I could build animations for him by moving around the bones. Then I put together a walk animation. That is... That's not how that's supposed to look. It looks terrible. Rumor has it there's actually a Trojan virus on your computer right now. Only way to remove it, subscribe. Okay, I needed to get a win. I needed to start putting some kind of points up on the board, man. So I switched gears to do some stuff that I'm actually okay at, programming. I started putting some gameplay together. I got our Odysseus walking around, and I put together a temporary map with walls. I used our other sprite as an enemy, and got an HP system working. It's starting to look kind of like a video game. The enemies spawn in from different points on the map, and they chase you around. They even get stuck on walls, like they do in Vampire Survivors. I was finally starting to put things together. Then we got to attacking. I started with a simple bow weapon. It shoots an arrow in the direction you're walking. It's just like the dagger from Vampire Survivors. Big problem though. The arrow's facing the wrong way. So I tried to use basic stuff for making the arrow point in the right direction, because Unity has a way for you to just say, point at a direction. And then the arrow disappeared. Apparently the arrows are spawning, but I just don't know where they are. So we got an arrow right. Wait, what? Well, behind the scenes, Unity is still a 3D engine. So the arrow is trying to point in the right direction, but it also points into the screen, making it invisible in 2D. Now, why Unity has some things work in 2D and others only work in 3D, I'll never understand. So I had to make use of my math miner to figure out how to get the arrow pointing in the right direction. By this, I mean that I had to get out a piece of paper and start doing some pseudo math and pen and Googling around until I figured it out. Here we go. Wait, that didn't work either. Another page worth of math doodling and scratching out, and I finally got it working. Finally. Now the arrows point in the way that they're supposed to. This part was a way bigger pain than I expected, but this logic should work for every different weapon in the game, so it should be worth it. I got a win, but the game still looks goofy with these animations. So I went back to figure those out. This time, I looked at the Vampire Survivors walk animation and tried to copy that. Pretty quickly, I found out what my big problem was. I put the bones on backwards. There's no way that Odysseus was going to turn out as anything but a weird alien with his bones on backwards. After a few attempts, I finally got them rigged up right and tried out some animation again. But I still don't know how to animate a walking cycle. So again, I looked at what they did in the original game. Turns out when people walk, this is going to blow your mind, one foot goes in front of the other foot. I feel kind of dumb for not thinking about that, but hey, duty's kind of not my forte. Moving the legs like this looks really weird when we slow it down, but it only looks pretty weird in the game. This is not perfect. In fact, if anyone knows more about this skin 2D animation than I do, please let me know how I could improve this. The Trojans look downright silly, but we have some amount of animation in the game, so I'm going to count that as good for now because it's looking a lot more like a video game. That being said, it's still missing a huge part of Vampire Survivors, though, which is leveling up. So I started adding XP and levels to the game. In Vampire Survivors, the XP comes in the form of these little diamonds. For this game, I decided to use these Greek coins instead. They do the same thing. You kill an enemy, and they drop XP coins. I made it so that it drops different amount based on what kind of enemy you killed. Right now, there's only one enemy. But hey, the system is still in place. You can also level up now. But what's the point of leveling up if you don't get anything? So I had to add, power-ups. You can get a helmet, which raises your HP. You can also get a cuirass. I think that's how you say that word. The cuirass, which gives you armor so you take less damage each hit. And I added wing boots, which look like normal boots. Okay, I'll add the wings later. They make you go faster, so obviously they're the coolest power-up. Boom. Now it's looking a lot more like Vampire Survivors. Also, check out this XP bar. That's as far as I can make it for now. It's finally kind of a video game, but it does still have a long way to go, and I'm pretty bad at art, as you've seen. So, let me know if you have any advice on ways around that problem, or other things that you might want to see added to the game. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.